Hi guys, so today we are doing something very special. We are going way back in history to the 1800s to discuss one of the most influential women of her time in Black history, Mrs. Ida Bell Wells Barnett. So sit tight and let's jump straight into the video. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm super excited for this video. Today we're going to be honoring a very powerful African American woman in Black history. Today I'm going to be bringing this picture of Ida B. Wells to life with Uncle Funky's daughter, and we're also going to jump into her story. So without further ado, sit tight and let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so before we start the video, just quick rundown. I already washed my hair. My hair is freshly washed. I used Rich and Funky, which is a moisturizing, sulfur-free, color-safe shampoo. So that's what I used to wash my hair. You guys know I alternate between Rich and Funky and Squeaky. Squeaky is their clarifying shampoo. So this week it was Rich and Funky that I used. It's really great for if you have like scalp issues and stuff. It has like a lot of nice ingredients that are good for your scalp. And then I deep conditioned with Heal and Renew. You guys already know this is one of my favorite deep conditioners because it really just deeply hydrates my hair. It feels amazing on my scalp as well. Now for the hairstyle. So Ida B. Wells basically has an updo with like a pearl hair comb in her hair. So that is basically what I'm going to be trying to achieve, and I'm deciding to do a braid out just to give my hair like some even texture, just like a little bit of texture before I do my updo. So now we're just going to moisturize our hair, and I'm going to be using Thirsty Curl, which is a leave-in curl revitalizing spray. Basically a spray leave-in conditioner, and then I'm also going to be using extra butter as well as the main moisturizer to just basically lock all that moisture in. So these are the two products I'm using. This is actually the mini size that comes in the travel size kit. So they have a travel size kit, and if you want to test out the products, if you haven't tried the products before, you can definitely like just buy this and see how it works in your hair. But I'm using this because right now I can't find my big bottle. I do not know where I dropped it. I literally used it last week, so I have no idea where it is. So I'm just going to be using the small mini size. So let us jump straight into styling and the rest of this video. So you guys are basically going to watch me do my hair with a simple braid out while I narrate the story of Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells Barnett was born on July 16, 1862, several months before the Emancipation Proclamation in Holly Springs, Mississippi. She was actually born into slavery during the Civil War. After the war, her parents became very involved in Reconstruction-era politics. Her father was a member of the Freedmen's Aid Society and also one of the founders of Shaw University, a school for newly freed Black folk, and was later renamed to Ross College and is one of the first HBCUs, historical Black colleges and universities. Her parents always instilled the importance of education into her, and because of the political work her parents were involved in, she was surrounded by adults who were involved with African American advancement campaigns. I believe that was where she drew her inspiration from. At the age of 16, she lost her parents and a brother to yellow fever, so she had to start working to take care of her 5 younger siblings. She was a caretaker, a college student, and also working as a teacher. She started to develop her writing passion during this time, and she moved her family to Memphis in 1882. At this time, she was 20. When she got to Memphis, she became a full journalist and co-founded a newspaper called Memphis Free Speech and Headlights. She did a lot of investigative journalism focusing on lynching in the South. Lynching was a pandemic in America, most especially in the South. Black people were kidnapped and brutally murdered by racist whites. Lynching was a tool for instilling fear and control on the Black population. People obviously lived in fear, and speaking out against lynching, especially as a Black person, was basically an extremely dangerous suicide attempt. That is exactly what Ida B. Wells did. Merely calling her brave is honestly an understatement. Because of the danger involved, she initially published her work under the name Ayola to protect her identity. In 1884, 2 years after she moved to Memphis, she sued the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad for racial discrimination. She bought a first-class train ticket, and the conductor told her to move to the back car of the train for Black people. She obviously refused, and she was forcefully kicked off the train. She sued and won $500. However, in 1887, the judgment was overturned by the Tennessee Supreme Court. They really messed up with that train situation, honestly, because that incident lit an even bigger fire in her to face white supremacy squarely with full force in every area. She became a teacher at a segregated public school in Memphis. She noticed that the Black schools were heavily underfunded, still happening to this day, and didn't get the same amount of supplies and resources as schools for white people. Again, she used her journalism skills to shake the table and call out education inequality, and she was fired for it. Sometime later in 1892, three of her friends were lynched for owning a grocery store that was more successful than the most popular white-owned grocery store in the area. Even the local sheriff participated in the lynching. The three men were falsely accused, set up, and brutally murdered. At this point, she decided to go straight for the jugular and bring the fire directly to their doorsteps. She was ready for war, and her ammunition were her printing press and journalism skills. She traveled around the South for 2 months, gathering information, interviewing families of victims that had been lynched, interviewing witnesses of lynchings, gathering info on black people who had been brutalized but were lucky to still be alive. She gathered all this valuable information and published it. This, of course, infuriated racist whites, and they sent her countless death threats. They even burned down her newspaper press, but thank God she was out of town when it happened. Because of the danger she was in, she had to move to New York. While in New York, she didn't stop her mission. As a matter of fact, she republished her anti-lynching work as Southern Horrors in 1892, and she published it under her own name, this time with her full chest. She also decided to take her campaign international. In 1894, she went to Britain and helped establish the British Anti-Lynching Society. Learning this for me was actually pretty interesting because we really don't talk enough about how different groups of the black diaspora influenced one another when it came to social justice and activism. Anyways, back to the story. So in 1895, she expanded on Southern Horrors and published The Red Record. This was a more in-depth look into lynching in the US. She also used the Red Record to challenge all the stupid excuses racist whites gave to justify lynching. She was able to show that lynching was an inhumane act to punish black people for defying white supremacy. The Red Record drew more international attention to the horrors in the United States, and she leveraged that attention to shine light on more discriminatory issues in the US. She confronted organizations like the YMCA for discrimination. In 1896, she co-founded the National Association for Colored Women with other founders including Harriet Tubman, Frances E.W. Harper, and Mary Church Terrell. She even went to the White House in 1898 to protest and demand for reform from the president against racial discrimination in the workplace. Ida B. Wells was also a suffragist heavily involved in women's issues. She started the Alpha Suffrage Club, which was a black women's organization in Chicago. She was instrumental in the fight for women's voting rights. But what was not surprising here is that within women's rights activism, she still had to deal with racism from white women, and she clashed with them a lot. During a women's suffrage march in DC, black women were told to march at the back by the organizers. I think they must have forgotten who they were talking to because Mrs. Ida B. Wells Barnett was not going for that, and she stood right at the front. What she experienced wasn't just exclusive to women's suffrage movements. Within the civil rights movement, she experienced the same thing. She was labeled an extremist and radical for insisting on exposing the whole truth about the level of violence and brutality black people experienced in the South. She was ostracized for not downplaying racism to please and coddle the feelings of white people. The civil rights leaders she clashed with believed her persistence would hinder their ability to make peaceful negotiations with white politicians. She was one of the founders of the NAACP, and because she refused to back down, she was sidelined. Mind you, she was only one of 2 black women that were founding members out of 12 people. Within suffrage movements, Ida was reminded that she was black, and within civil rights movements, she was reminded that she was a woman. And this is an unfortunately popular theme you find within the stories of many black women activists. Ida went on to marry in 1895 and had 4 children with her husband. She continued her activism work until death in March 25, 1931, at the age of 68 in Chicago. Okay, so that was a history, very brief history of the remarkable life of Ida B. Wells, such an amazing woman. And as you can see, I finished doing my braid out, so now I've fluffed my hair and we're going to do the actual hairstyle. So as you can see, I have my hair separated in the front and the back portion. I'm just going to keep the front portion out of the way first. We're going to work on the back first. So as you can see, I'm standing in front of a mirror and there's a mirror behind me. And I'm just doing a braid, not too tight. Just do a little bit loose if you want more volume. So I'm just going to do a braid to the top of my head. Like a backward cornrow, sort of, going to the top of my head. So yeah, just one cornrow braid to the top of my head. As you can see, that is what the braid is looking like. It doesn't have to be perfect, honestly. It doesn't have to be neat. It's just doing a braid to the top of your head. So I'm not going to finish the braid up until the top. As you can see, I've stopped braiding there. I'm going to leave the ends and just hold it with like a hair clip, and we're going to work on the front. So for the front portion, we're going to take half of the front portion. I'm just like brushing my edges. So I'm taking half and I'm going to roll it. We're basically going to be doing roll and tucking. So I'm just rolling that part and tucking it with a bobby pin. Next, I'm going to take the end of the back braid that we did. Remember, I didn't braid it up until the end. I just left the ends. So what I'm going to do is roll the hair inwards towards the crown of my head and then secure it with a bobby pin. And for the remaining piece of hair, I'm just going to roll it upwards, as you can see, and secure it with a bobby pin. You can practice around with doing this style, but it's just basically rolling and tucking. Braid the back, then roll and tuck the top. It's a very simple style actually. So I went ahead and put my pearl comb. I actually got this off Amazon, but the pearl comb wasn't long enough. I wish it was a bit wider. So I went ahead and used some other clips, like flower pins that I had, and stuck that in my hair. And this is the final result. Okay guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So this is my final look for Ida B. Wells. I actually wanted to get this look as, I wanted it to be as perfect as possible. I wanted it to be spot on. So I ordered this outfit and everything plus the hair accessories from Amazon. This video was initially supposed to just be a hair tutorial while I was doing the research for the video and just studying Ida B. Wells. It was just so much information that I felt had to be shared, and I just didn't feel like it would be right for me to make this solely just a hair tutorial. I actually wanted to put in as much information about her as I could, because that woman's life, that woman's story is absolutely amazing. It's crazy that like this is the first time I'm actually learning about her in depth. I feel like this woman's story should be everywhere. It's just incredible and mind-blowing to understand how immensely brave and how determined this woman was. Like I really hope that I did her justice in this video, to be very honest. Ida's personality is one that I resonate with a lot, and she reminds me of a lot of women in Africa that experience the exact same thing or something similar. Queen Nzinga of Angola, Queen Amina of Zaria, and in more recent times Winnie Mandela, and a lot more women across the diaspora that have been heavily involved in fighting against discrimination, fighting for social justice. It's really interesting seeing the parallels between these women's lives and how it's usually the same themes involved in everything that he did. I love women that know how to put their foot down. I love women that are very assertive. I love women that are they know what they want and they go for it. I love women that are fearless. I like her personality is just everything I aspire to be very honest. I'm actually thinking of turning this into a series. I was supposed to just do this for Uncle Funky's daughter this month, but I might actually turn this into a series where I look at different women across history and try to recreate a hairstyle, and in the process also tell their story. So let me know if you guys want to see that. All the stuff I used from Uncle Funky's daughter, and I am going to be leaving everything down below in the description box, so please make sure you check that out. And you can also use my code West African Baby for 15% off all your purchases. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button down below on my face on this side. Also, do not forget to watch my other natural hair videos on this side. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.